Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Sunday, March 6th of 2025. Yes, I took yesterday off. It's sometimes you got to have some downtime, right? And yesterday was one of those days where I didn't get a lot done, but that was okay. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, today is the Sunday sermon. That's right. We haven't had one in quite some time. But don't worry, I'm not going to go off the deep end on you. Hopefully, it'll keep you entertained the whole time you're here. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekend. Today is Sunday, April 6th. So, what are we talking about today? We're going to talk about not being alone with your issues. And that could be a huge topic, right? What the hell is Eric talking about? I'm talking about a lot of times when we feel alone, we're trying to fight those demons that we don't understand that it's our fault for doing so. And it is. If you're being reality based, if you don't allow anybody in, then you're going to fight those issues all by yourself. And you don't have to. That's the key. You don't have to go it alone. We all have family and friends. And to be honest with you, a lot of times just being vocal about it makes it sound is not as bad as what it really is in our mind, right? And a lot of times we're not looking for people to understand. It's just that we're not alone with it. So, how can we make ourselves be less alone with things? That's telling other people what's going on. As simple as that. I mean, most of us can pick up when there's something not right with somebody else, something's bothering them, they're having a bad day, but we don't know why. And maybe if we do that why, we could, from experience, especially as older people, we can give guidance because we've been through it before, right? We can make it as little less scary. Can't do it for them, and we can't do it for you, but we can make the task less scary than what it already is. I tell people right along, you're never alone with anything, anyways. You aren't. You got the man upstairs. You don't need to go to church regularly, and you don't need a priest or a minister or a pastor to speak for you. You can speak to God anytime you want. But if you're like me, in my case, he puts me on mute. It's kind of like, dear Jesus, not Eric again. Hey, I'll tell you, I talk a lot with him. And I don't mean going around talking out loud, because then people will know you're crazy. I mean just having a conversation in your head with him. You don't need to be vocal. It doesn't need to be said out loud. But it does when it comes to asking other people to help you out, is they need to hear what's going on. And you'd be amazed at how many people have gone through something similar that can offer you some guidance in that department. Sometimes it's just that hug saying, we got you. That was the hug that I got And the feeling I got when I was being transported from one ER to a surgical team 2.5 hours away was I had a young lady say, "We got you." Or it's that hug being told you're something special. Like when you're sitting in your room in the ICU and you can hear codes going on all around you. And you know some of them didn't make it. And you're asking yourself, why them and not me? And having a young nurse come up and give you a hug and say, because you're special. And if you don't knock this off, I'm going to kill you. Or it's that guy in your life that sits there and listens quietly. Doesn't say a word. And when you're all done, he gets up and gives you a hug. Saying nothing. Or it's that gal that does the same. A lot of times we don't get things off our chest the way we should. And then it keeps building and building and building until it gets to a point of where we just can't take anymore. But we can, right? We say we can't, but we always can. Because in my world, I know that God won't give me anything any more than what I can handle. Sometimes I have my doubts about it. But in the end, that rings true. And sometimes it's His way of trying to show you what's really going on and not all this hype that's been added to it. You're only alone on that hill if you choose to be there. And I can tell you a lot of times that person, if that's you, that feels they need to go alone and stand on that hill, is also the first one that if one of your family or friends is having problems, will drop what you're doing and give them a hand and listen to them and tell them, we got you. You're special. Right? Why is that? Why is it that you're the first one? It's because you know what it feels like to stand on that hill alone, and you don't want anybody else to have to go through what you're going through. But don't you deserve the same? Don't you deserve to allow other people in to help you so that you're not fighting those battles alone on that hill? It's just something to give thought to. But that's where it began for me on Friday. You know, I call it a funk. F-U-N-K. What is a funk to me? A funk is when I start getting overwhelmed by things that are going on around me. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be just a situation. But once you're aware of that situation and you start getting that downward spiral, right? You start adding more stuff to it. Instead of just addressing the one issue that you had. Now you've compounded it by adding more stuff in, right? And as that weight of the world is pulling you down, you can't help but keep adding more. Until you're just swimming there with your head just above water. Wondering, how did I get here? Why is no one throwing me a life preserver? And it's a good question to ask. And you're the only one that can answer it. See, that's what life is all about. It's about problem solving. It's about trying to figure out what's really going on. As we get older, Most times it becomes a little easier to realize it is what it is instead of something else. But it doesn't say that it's always going to be easy. If you get to be my age, you've been on top of that hill by yourself many a times, especially guys. But I know a lot of gals are the same way. You know, this is not a guy thing. This is a we thing, right? And it takes a certain caliber of person that will do anything for anybody. But the odd thing is they're the last one to ask for help. And that asking, what I'm trying to get across to you is, don't look at it as asking for help. Look at it as not being alone with it by yourself. That makes a big difference. And if that's talking to God because you have no one else to talk to, then talk to Him. And what if I'm hearing it right now, Eric, what if you don't believe in God? Well, talk to space aliens. I don't know. Maybe that's who I'm talking to. Because I know that He's greater than myself. Do you know of somebody that's greater than yourself that may be able to help, if only just to listen? And if you're around people that aren't willing to listen constructively and are quick to tell you you need to snap out of things or blow it off, you might want to find new friends. You can't trade your family in, but you can trade your friends in. Because your friends will be there in the good times, and they'll also be there when you need a good cry and cry with you. You're only as alone as you choose to be. Right? And I can tell you right now, if you're the type of person that helps other people, give them the chance to pay you back. Look at it as paying it forward. I don't care how you look at it, but if this is the only way I can get you to understand, is every time you help somebody out, even if it's just listening, you're paying it forward. So what's the issue with allowing them to pay you back some by being part of what's going on with you? They don't need to understand it. They don't. But at that point, you're not alone with it. And I can tell you, in a lot of instances, in my case, by being vocal about it, gave me the answers I needed. The other person didn't need to say anything. Because when I was vocalizing to that person what was going on, the answers appeared in front of me, magically. This is what you need to do. The worst thing you can do is avoid it. If you have something bothering you, taking some time away to kind of get a reprieve is one thing. But avoiding it and putting it off only just compounds it. Why not just take care of it before it gets too big? I speak from having this happen to me numerous times in my ages. I really didn't want to bother, burden, rain on anybody's day with my own crap. I wanted family and friends to move on from something that I couldn't move on from yet. But just hearing the words from friends saying, you need to give yourself a break. Take a breather. What's going on with you is only natural. Allow us in to help. Or to find out that things that you have been doing actually mattered in other people's lives. See, that's all we want to be is heard. That's all we want to do is be important to someone other than ourselves and God. We can't force ourselves onto other people. But we can be that type of individual that's there when they need it. And it's not that we want people to falter like ourselves. It's just that we don't want people to feel like they're faltering all by themselves. Because that's the worst, right? We know how it feels. So I'm telling you, give yourself a break. What's going on is only natural. How can I help? What can I do today to make your day a better day? That's what this video is all about, is helping you help me. And that is, you guys totally don't, I don't think you get it of how much you do help me in battling my own demons. You could have ditched me back when I had my heart issues and gone on to other places and quit watching. You could have. And maybe you should have. But you didn't. But that's what good friends do. So on that note, you guys have a great day. Give yourself a break. It's only natural. And tell somebody. Even if it's just God. You guys have a great Sunday.